Cheer with the deal, my people. You know what it is, Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And this one is the Ultimate Movie Trilogy Tournament. What is the greatest movie trilogy of all time? Now, once again, you must understand we are judging these movies as 3 movies, not 1, not 2, but all 3 movies. An average of the 3 movies must be taken into account to get this score right and to find out what is the greatest movie trilogy of all time. And I am joined by Don Willie. I am joined by James Buchel. I am joined by Jerry Targaryen Steamboat, and I am joined by Sir L.T. Giles. This is the final round, round 1. We are on the other side of the bracket, the Toy Story bracket and the Lord of the Rings bracket. So without further ado, let's get into it. So we move over to the other side, walking over to the other side. And we start with a maniac in this bracket. This is really, I don't know how this is a competition in this one. But here we go. The number 1 seed in this other bracket, Lord of the Rings, going up against Scream.
Alright, let's see here. So Scream. Man, that first Scream, I mean, say what you want about it, but horror was in a weird place at that time. Everyone was laughing at it like, oh yeah, Jason and Freddy, they're back for the billionth time. Same old shit. And, we have Scream coming along, and here is a movie who's kind of making fun of the horror genre. In a way, try doing another kind of not a super serious horror thing. It's got a pretty decent horror story, teen slasher flick, all while making fun of, a lot of the nonsense of horror movies. It was a really good movie, I really enjoyed it. Scream 2, while it wasn't the strongest flick, it did have a nice little twist at the end. Scream 3 wasn't that great, but it did have Jay and Silent Bob in it. But yeah, come on, The Lord of the Rings, what can we say? It was. I thought Peter Jackson made these better than the books, in my opinion, and he really just brought Middle Earth to life and told one of the classic stories of literature. Lord of the Rings, easy.
James Buchel.
Yeah. Once again, I'm not a big horror fan, and I actually went and bought the extended edition Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray. So I guess my answer is easily Lord of the Rings, and I actually think that it's probably one of the biggest contenders because all 3 films are phenomenal, and it's hard to poke holes at Lord of the Rings. So for me, it's easily Lord of the Rings.
I hear you. It really is. It's a beast of a movie series, Lord of the Ring. I mean, when you look at everything that makes a great, whatever you want to category you want to put at, whether it made money, whether it was finally acted, it tops everything. Lord of the Rings, there's nothing you can say bad about it. Don Willie, what is your pick?
As I stated before, when it comes to owning trilogies, there's only one of them that I actually own, and that is Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. You gotta love a movie when you're willing to watch 2 Blu-rays for 1 movie. So, Lord of the Rings, man.
I hear you. LT?
Alright, so I should say this for Storytime with LT, but when I think I was 13 or 14 when Scream came out. Was it 96 when Scream came out?
Yeah, we were 12 or 13.
Yeah, so I know the girl I was dating was older than me, and she stole her mom's car so we could go see Scream at the drive-in. And let's just say there was no watching the movie. Anyway, so I ended up seeing it on DVD later. It's a pretty good movie. The other ones are all right, but this is not even a contest. Lord of the Rings are just some amazing movies, action-packed. You got the Return of the King is just amazing. It is hands down. Anybody who would pick Scream is just wrong.
I hear you. Listen, Scream, the mask is hot. The mask was hot, without a doubt. The mask still lives on, but this ain't no contest. It's talking about Lord of the Rings? Lord of the motherfucking Rings, period. Point blank. And Lord of the Rings, number 1 seed, moves on. So now we are down to the next set, and this is, pretty hard right here. We have the Mariachi movies, and we have Spider-Man, the original 3 Spider-Mans.
Spider-Man 1 was okay. I thought it was a good opening. Spider-Man 2, phenomenal. Spider-Man 3, It's like, oh yeah, all that shit you loved in Spider-Man 2, we're just gonna throw that out the window because fuck this trilogy. The Mariachi movies, they were great early 90s action movies that, you go back and you watch them and it's like, all right, these are cool, but it's a little kind of dated. Like it has that early 90s run and gun style where, everything is fast paced, shoot 'em up, and, when you go back and look at it, it's like, I can watch it for nostalgia purposes, but is it all that great kind of thing? Now, I don't know, man. This one is one of those tough ones for me, too. But I think I might have to go with Mariachi series on this one. Because Spider-Man 3 was such a hard fail that, yeah, I mean, like, the Mariachi movies may not have been the greatest, but at least it wasn't a fail movie in the trilogy.
I hear you. LT Giles.
All right, well, I love the Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Spider-Man 1 I liked, and 2 I liked, but 3, I went to the midnight showing and I was very disappointed. So I'm just going to go with my man Don Willie and go with the Mariachi.
Good enough reason for me, homeboy. Good enough reason for me. Jerry.
So, I mean, you really kind of got to look. I'm going to disagree with Don Willie about the dated one. I would say the dated one is by far is easily Spider-Man. Spider-Man at the time, Spider-Man was the groundbreaking as a superhero movie. Like, I think all we had was X-Men, and I thought Spider-Man was better than that. I thought Spider-Man was the groundbreaking of kind of like the more, not so Tim Burton-y weird, but a good origin story for, a superhero. Spider-Man 2 was a little bit better of a story, but it was still kind of, it was okay. Spider-Man 3 was total garbage, but looking at it out of a curve, none of these movies were all that great. You got the Macho Man beating up the Macho Man. You got Bruce Campbell making all kinds of jokes. I mean, Sam Raimi, I love him for the Evil Dead series, but he was not the man for this movie. Yeah, these were all kind of mediocre movies if you look back at it. At the time, they were much better. Looking back, they are not quite what they were. But let's see, El Mariachi. The El Mariachi series, El Mariachi was one of the best low-budget movies of all time. He only made it for a few $1,000s, El Mariachi. It was all in Spanish. And it was just a damn good, like, little folk story about a little town in Mexico about, like, a mariachi that gets in over his head and finds himself in the crossfire between, a drug lord and his assassin. It's just a great, great movie. I love El Mariachi. Desperado, I thought, was trying to retell the same thing with the bigger budget, and it sucked for that. It was like all this money and you get nothing. Once Upon a Time in Mexico was total garbage. You'd be bringing even A-list actors like Johnny Depp, and it sucked. But, to be honest, looking back, there's only one movie in these of these 6 that I like, and it's El Mariachi. So I'm going with the Mariachi series.
There it is.
If it would have been 10 years ago, I would have voted for Spider-Man, but today, El Mariachi.
James, who do you got?
Well, I guess I'm on the minority on this one because I like El Mariachi, but I think we saw Antonio. The first time I ever saw Antonio Banderas, and yeah, he's not the greatest actor. Desperado is not a very good movie. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I don't even remember. At least I remember Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Yes, Spider-Man 3 was dumb, but at least, I even remember more from Spider-Man 3. I remember the dumb stuff with, like, Venom and the whole Peter Parker dance scene, but at least I remember it. I don't even remember anything from Once Upon a Time in Mexico. So for me, it is Spider-Man, and it's not even close, and I'm surprised El Mariachi is going to win this round.
One more thing I want to say about El Mariachi. Robert Rodriguez printed how to do a low budget movie. He said, you take what you had. He's like, I have 3 things: a guitar, a bus, and a turtle. So I knew I was going to write them all into my movie. And you see them all into this movie. And he then lists in a magazine all the cost of how he made this low-budget movie. Kevin Smith went on to make Clerks based on this list, like to kind of figure out how to budget, along with many other indie filmmakers that were later going to break through it. So it kind of has that going for it as well.
Yeah, when I look at the movies and I look at the budget, and that's basically why I could go with, look what this guy did with the little budget he had. Spider-Man had a huge budget. When I go back at it, I would rather have El Mariachi on my resume if I was director. So I would take those. That definitely moves on without a doubt. James is alone on the island there on Spider-Man. So we move down towards this bracket, and this is a very hard. No, this is a pretty good matchup here. The next two matchups I think are pretty hard here. We have Aliens, and we have Batman 1989 to 1995. And we will start with Jerry.
Batman. I mean, as much as it was kind of wacky and not that much Batman, the Tim Burton Batman was a good Batman movie. It was a fun Batman movie. Batman Returns was pretty cool, kind of. It really wasn't Batman, but and that Penguin, oh my God, I don't know what that wasn't. He wasn't very gentleman-like you would expect from the Penguin. He was like a penguin from the sewers, but And, Batman Forever, it was stupid, but I think they were at least trying to go for redoing the 60s Batman. There's a lot of homages based on that. Man, it still wasn't that good. Chris O'Donnell was like 30 years old trying to play Robin. Whereas Alien is another one of these movies where it's got a mix of genres. You got basically a haunted house movie in space with all these sci-fi and aliens, and you got this slasher villain again in the Alien coming up and just munching on all these guys. Who could survive? Wonderful movie. Aliens, wonderful sequel. Did not repeat, went in the totally different genre, the action genre, and it was almost as good. It was badass. You're taking on the Queen, fucking up all the aliens. The team was badass. And, then they get out. Alien 3 was a big fucking mess of a fuck. But yeah, I'm going with Alien here.
Hey, Jerry picks Aliens. James Michelle, who you go with?
Well, I know us in the Hypes Watch, we've actually argued about the Tim Burton Batmans before. I think some of us don't like it, and some of us do. But me, I am not a big fan of the Tim Burton Batmans. Batman's okay. Batman Returns is weird. I don't really like it. Michelle Pfeiffer licking people, and the Penguin was just. I just wasn't down with the Penguin. And then Batman Forever is like, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin than Batman Forever. At least Batman and Robin was more like I had Arnold being Mr. Freeze saying puns. At least I had some enjoyment out of that. Batman Forever is trash. Alien 1, Alien 2 are masterpieces. Yes, Alien's gonna have problems because it has Alien 3, but despite having the anchor that is Alien 3, it beats those Batmans. Because like I said, I'm personally not a huge fan of Tim Burton's Batmans. And Joel Schumacher's Batman is just even worse.
No doubt, no doubt. Don Willie.
Listen, James, I don't know what's up with you, but Michelle Pfeiffer can lick me anytime.
Anywhere.
Yeah, damn, man. So, Tim Burton Batman's, the first Batman was kind of almost the resurgence of the superhero movie. I mean, that's some of that. When that first Batman came out, everybody had that Prince soundtrack blaring. Everybody wanted them toys for Christmas. So I mean, you can't put anything past the first Batman. Batman Returns, however, yeah, I don't know what the fuck was going on with Penguin, but and yeah, that shit, just went a little bit too much Tim Burton. They gave Tim Burton a little bit too much control and went off the rails. And then by the time you get to Batman Forever, I mean, Michael Keaton, that should tell you something when the main star is like, you know what, fuck this, I don't even want to come back anymore. You know, that should tell you where your franchise is going. When your main star is just like, nah, I'm good. I got other shit to do with my life. Uh, Aliens on the other hand, I mean, look, Alien 3 might have been crazy with the little dog alien, but at least they were trying to keep things in continuity. You know, they were experimenting. I mean, because you got to think about it. You know, Ridley Scott did the first one. Then he was like, all right, I did what I wanted to do with that. I'm done. Then James Cameron came in, the second one, and at that time, James Cameron was just like, yeah, I'm done. I don't do sequels. So, you know, then they went to the third director, and Alien 3 is so forgettable, I forget who the damn director is. The only thing I remember about that movie, David Fincher. I mean, you know, the crazy thing about it is because David Fincher is normally a pretty good director. But I think at the last minute, if I'm not mistaken, they started making a bunch of changes to the movie. I mean, and in fact, the one thing that I do know, no, that's the Alien Resurrection that has like the totally different ending. But whatever, man. Aliens, bro. You know, because yeah, it's just superior work, man.
No doubt, no doubt. LT.
You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. That's one of the funniest scenes from a movie that I love very much. The first Tim Burton Batman. I really enjoyed that movie. I've watched it numerous times. I was very disappointed with Batman Returns. I didn't. It wasn't complete trash, but it just could not follow up to the first one. And yeah, like you guys are saying, Batman Forever was, I can't even really remember it. It just all I could right now off the top of my head, I could remember the guy who played Robin trying to hit him and he's just blocking it. I don't even know if that was the right one. But anyway, so Alien, a very memorable series. The first one is an absolute masterpiece. And then what about Aliens 2 Aliens when they're getting attacked and he's like, "Come on, Marines, let's go, Marines!" And all of a sudden, Bill Paxton is like, "They kicked our ass, man! They kicked our ass. Let's get out of here!" It's
game over, man! Game over!
Yeah, game over, man!
Game over!
Yeah, I'm in the very few that likes Alien 3. I actually liked it. The reason why, they don't have no weapons. They have to get creative to fight back against this alien. You know, I thought it was pretty good. I would never say it's as good as the first two, but I enjoyed it. So I'm picking Aliens here.
I hear you. Well, I can remember when Batman 1989 came out without a doubt. I remember going to the movie theater and seeing this movie, and I can remember the line wrapped around the block on Queens Boulevard to get up in there. I can remember back then that it was popular in the hip-hop community to rock medallions. Everyone had African medallions. You seen Batman medallions popping around motherfuckers' neck. That's how popular that movie was. I remember when I seen that movie, I had to stand up to watch it in the theater. It was standing room only. When that ship hit the moon and flipped around, the whole crowd went nuts. That's how great that movie was. But when you talk about Danny DeVito as the Penguin, you fucked up. You fucked up so bad. When you go from Jack Nicholson Joker to Danny DeVito's Penguin, what happened, man? What happened when we talk about aliens, man? Aliens. And I can make a case that Aliens, the second one's better than the first one. You got Bishop. This is where Data came from. And everything else. You know, and this her being in that mech-ass suit back then, beating up this motherfucker, flamethrower, everything about the movie, I have no choice but to go with Alien. It deserves it. Aliens, Alien all day. We have the Hunger Games going up against Indiana Jones. And we're going to start with James Bichelle on this one. Hunger or Jones?
Well, yeah, I love Indiana Jones, the first three movies. I don't think you could. I mean, even Temple of Doom, yeah, it has some bad acting in it. It's kind of absurd. It's got some ridiculous scenes in it, but man, is it fun. It is a really, really fun movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark, just a classic, perfection movie. And Last Crusade, my personal favorite. I think it is the most. It combines a great film with heart, with a lot of fun. And the Hunger Games, yeah, they're fine. They're whatever, they're fine. But they ain't no Indiana Jones. So Indiana Jones.
No doubt, Indiana Jones, Don Willie.
Yeah, so look, man, I'm not even gonna play games with this one whatsoever. Indiana Jones, absolute classic. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Hunger Games. It told a coherent narrative. It was cool in terms of the themes that it tried to present. But I mean, come on, man, listen, nothing gets more iconic than the whip, the fedora, and the guy getting the chicks. I mean, look, Indiana Jones is an international playboy, and you got to learn a bunch of shit. Like, dude, that Indiana Jones is probably one of the things that got me into wanting to learn about history. Like, how many times can you say that, you went to a movie looking just to be entertained, and not only were you entertained, but you got educated, and it sparked you to educate yourself some more. So, Hunger Games is cool, but I gotta go with my man Indy.
No doubt, no doubt. LT.
I've seen all the Hunger Games once. I'll probably never watch them again. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence is gorgeous, but that won't make me watch them again. They're decent movies at best. Now, Indiana Jones, oh, come on. I was a kid, watching these movies are so fun. And, I remember saying, man, I want to be, in front of my stepdad, I was like, I want to become an archaeologist like Indiana Jones. He said, you know how much college you got to go to become an archaeologist? And it's like, Indiana Jones makes an archaeologist seem so cool. And it's just all fun movies and great. No competition here. Indiana Jones, hands down.
No doubt, no doubt. Jerry, are you gonna go to the Hunger Games side? Is that what I'm feeling here?
I mean, I don't want to play games, but I feel the audience is a bit hungry. So, I really like the Hunger Games. I mean, especially the first one. I thought it was like, a little cool idea, pit all these kids together, make them battle it out, see all these horrors go out. Once it became kind of a Civil War thing, it wasn't as good in my opinion. Especially the next one where they had like these crazy, like lagoon men jumping out of the sewers and killing them. I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah, I mean, they were good movies, but come on, man. We're talking Dr. Jones here, man. All of them are 9.5 movies. Easy Indiana Jones. Yeah.
I'm going to have to go along with everybody here without a doubt. I don't give a fuck about the Hunger Games. But when you're talking about Indiana Jones, when you're talking about the dude with the sword flipping it around like he's a badass, he sees Indy with the whip, and the man just pulls out the gun and puts the bullet right through him and turns it around and smiles. That's all you got to say about Indiana Jones. I wanted to be Indiana Jones. That's what that movie did. I wanted to be him. I wanted to have that hat and that whip. And Temple of Doom, I wanted to be an Asian kid. I wanted to be him so bad. I used to hike up my voice, Indy! Indy! This is how I could be down. I wanted to be down so bad. That is why, no doubt, Indiana Jones has got to take that. And that is the end of that bracket, the Lord of the Rings bracket. And we will move on to the last bracket, the Toy Story bracket. Toy Story going up against the Star Trek movies. And we will start off here with Don Willie.
Wow, so yeah, this is pretty interesting because you got Toy Story, which even though they're billed as kid movies, they have a lot of adult themes, man, and they it's rare when you can be, in your mid-20s or whatever, and go and watch movies that are supposed to be for kids, and you're still able to connect with it, man. And that's what was ill about the Toy Story movies. It was like, even though they were for kids, they weren't childish. They didn't tell stupid jokes that it's like, oh yeah, only a 5-year-old would find this funny. So that was the thing I liked about it. Now, as far as Star Trek movies, I mean, there's been a lot of controversy amongst Star Trek purists who look at the J.J. Abrams films, and even with the latest one, they don't lambast it as much, but they look at them as it's kind of an abomination of sorts, especially Part 2 because of the takeoff of Wrath of Khan and all that. Yeah, so I mean, look, long story short, as much as I like both trilogies, I think that Toy Story did a much better job with consistency, and not really pissing people off, man, and not, people not feeling like they got trampled on. So, Toy Story trilogy, man.
No doubt, no doubt. LT Giles, Toy Story or Star Trek?
You're my favorite deputy. I'm going with Toy Story.
No doubt, no doubt. Jerry.
Oh, I mean, okay, the Star Trek, the first one, I liked it, but it wasn't because it was like that great of a movie. I liked the novelty of it, bringing all those characters back, seeing them younger. The movie was kind of stupid, Red Matter, for some reason this guy wants to take revenge on Spock, even though he had the chance to change the future. He's like, no, I can't change the future, even though I'm in the past. I just want to kill Spock. I don't want to save my wife. No, I'm going to kill Spock. So stupid. The second movie was just a fucking ripoff of Wrath of Khan. It was so disgusting. And the third one was, a good callback. It was good. It was finally a good movie, a good Star Trek movie. I enjoyed it. Chris Pine really became William Shatner in it. And it kind of got more to, what you expect from Trek. So it was good. But, come on, Toy Story. These movies were great for kids and adults. I mean, and they progressed well, too. Like, they progressed. Like, the first one is just a fun adventure one. The second one, it's kind of like talking about consumerism and stuff like that. And then the third one is like kind of being forgotten, like all over again. It's just a good set of movies, Toy Story easy.
No doubt, no doubt. James Michelle.
I do like the Star Trek movies. I think Into Darkness would be a lot more well received if they just wanted to name the character something different other than Khan and made him not a, I guess, genetic enhanced human being. But it did happen, so it was kind of a ripoff. Beyond was fun. Star Trek 1 was fun, but Toy Story combines great storytelling with emotion, and it's great for adults and children, so it's Toy Story.
Say it like this. Listen, it's going to be hard for Toy Story to lose this tournament, in all honesty. When you look at the three of these movies combined, can it get lower than any movie, get lower than a 9.5? I mean, it's really hard, so without a doubt, the number one seed definitely moves on. So, that moves us to the next group of movies here, and that is Mission Impossible 1 through 3. Versus X-Men, 1 through 3. And we start with LT Giles.
This is hard because I don't really like neither one of these series. The first X-Men was a big disappointment. I remember it came out in 2000, the same time as Gladiator. And I just remember this movie just being a big disappointment. The best thing about all these movies to me is the look of Wolverine. I think he looks cool. But besides that, and then Mission Impossible, I've seen them probably all once. So I guess if I had to pick, I'd pick Mission Impossible because Tom Cruise is a great actor. So I guess I'm going Mission Impossible. But I don't like either of these series, really. So if I had to pick, Mission Impossible.
You got to pick, and you went with Mission Impossible. That's the way it goes. Jerry!
I mean, Mission Impossible 1, I liked it. I thought it was fun. You know, it was a good introduction to, you know, Ethan Hunt and, you know, his crew. Mission Impossible 2 was kind of corny and a little bit But Mission Impossible 3, I thought was, I wasn't expecting much, but it ended up being a pretty good movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman ended up being a good villain. You know, I really enjoyed it. X-Men. I fucking hated the first one. The story was stupid. Magneto looked like he couldn't even walk. Wolverine looked terrible. I was like, this isn't Wolverine. This big motherfucker. I'm like, where is the short, you know, kind of crouched animal feral guy? Where is this? This is not him. All the kind of people were kind of old that were playing the X-Men too. I'm like, this is no origin story. X2 was kind of entertaining, but still had the same problems. And X3, I just want to throw things when I think about that fucking movie. Fuck that movie. Yeah. Mission Impossible. I'm going Mission Impossible.
There it is. The mission is not impossible for Jerry. James Michelle.
You know, I don't have as many problems with X-Men 1. I mean, it's kind of corny, and I haven't seen it in like a long time. I watched it for the first time I was 13, so I was younger. I enjoyed it. X-Men 2 is a pretty solid movie, but yeah, X-Men 3 is a pile of garbage, and I don't need to ever watch it again. Mission Impossible 1, good movie. Mission Impossible 2, not a very good movie. I don't think Mission Impossible 2 is good at all. I think and actually, fun fact, the main villain for Mission Impossible 2 was originally supposed to play Wolverine, but he declined it to play the villain in Mission Impossible 2. And Mission Impossible 3 is okay. This is pretty tough because I don't think either are great contenders or great trilogies to begin. Or, you know, they're not great trilogies. I guess I'll go with Mission Impossible just because I would watch Mission Impossible 1 over all the other movies.
No doubt. Don Willie.
Sorry, I've been trying to unmute myself. God damn it. So yeah, man, Mission Impossible. I mean, to me, it's a great way to kick off a franchise or something that was, you know, nobody was even thinking about. It was what, a TV show from like the late 70s, early 80s or whatever, and you know, I think that came in spectacular fashion. The X-Men, you know, that was something that was kind of cool. But yeah, even when I first saw the first one, I was kind of like, all right. For one, I wasn't really digging the black leather look. I was like, you know, can you guys stop copying Batman just for a little bit here?
I gotta say something. What pissed me off is they thought they were being so clever when they took a jab at it. Like, what would you rather be in yellow tights? I'm like, yeah, like, I would like to see him in yellow tights. Fuck you.
Yeah, man. But X2, I thought was a much better movie. Shows that Bryan Singer can be a good director when he wants. X-Men 3, I would like to give the middle finger to Brett Ratner and Bryan Singer because Bryan Singer went to go and direct that garbage-ass Superman Returns. He dropped out of directing X3 to go and fuck up Superman. So, yeah, middle fingers to both directors on that one. So with that being said, yeah, I'm just going to have to go Mission Impossible by default because
that's exactly what I feel about this situation with Mission Impossible. Fuck the X-Men movies. They all sucked. And I don't care what anyone says. We're going back to the golden eras. There was no golden era. They all sucked. And that's the bottom line. Mission Impossible moves on. Next, we have Die Hard versus Star Wars 1, 2, and 3. Jar Jar Binks. Who gets to take this one? This is so hard for me to pick. It really is. Who sets this one off this round?
I'll set it off. Yeah, Die Hard 1. One of the greatest action movies ever made, especially one of the greatest 80s movies ever made. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker is still, everyone knows that line. Hans Gruber, awesome villain. Die Hard 2, little crazy. Not as good, that's for sure. But I personally think Die Hard with a Vengeance is awesome. I think Samuel L. Jackson's Zeus was he was of course just playing Samuel L. Jackson, but Samuel L. Jackson's a badass motherfucker. So I am down with Samuel L. Jackson in the Die Hard series. He had great rapport with Bruce Willis. Prequels. You said it yourself, Tony. Jar Jar Binks. Phantom Menace. Just so many things wrong with the prequels. Casting Anakin too young, the weird dialogue in Attack of the Clones. Return of the Sith isn't terrible, but it's not great. To me, this is a no-brainer, and I believe it's going to be a sweep. It's going to be Die Hard.
I hear you. Down Willie, what are you thinking?
As bad as the prequels are, I mean, I think they get bashed a little too heavily sometimes. You know, people just go out of their way to take shots at the prequels. Are they as good as 4, 5, and 6? No. Are they as good as Episode 7? No. But god damn it, it's not fucking Batman Forever or Batman and Robin or Green Lantern or a ton of other movies I could list. That being said, gotta go with Die Hard, because Die Hard 1, super classic. Die Hard 2, they tried to rip. They basically tried to rip off a Die Hard 1, except putting it in an airport instead. And then Die Hard 3, man, come on, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yo, that whole shit of them trying to go through New York, and trying to stop a bomb. When he was like, oh, yeah, when he's in the cab, and he was like, yeah, the quickest way is through the park. He was like, oh, Park Road is closed. He's like, oh, no, I said the quickest way is through the park. Yo, that shit was, come on, man, that whole shit was classic. So, yeah, man, gotta go with Die Hard trilogy on that one.
No doubt, no doubt. LT.
I think Die Hard 1 is absolutely great. I've only seen 2 once. I've only seen 3 once. I'm a big fan of the prequels. A lot of people hate them. I had fun with the first one. Attack of the Clones, I liked it, but it's not great. But Revenge of the Sith, I've seen that movie like 6 times in the theater. I absolutely love that movie. I always criticize it, and people say it's horrible, but I thought the Anakin and Obi-Wan scene is great. And just the whole movie, I'm going to go with the prequels on this one.
No doubt. The prequels pull one out there. Jerry, you the next one to go with the prequels or what?
I mean, Anakin, he doesn't like sand. And I don't like his movies. So, I mean, Phantom Menace, that movie, it had no purpose. There was no single purpose of that movie other than be a load of betrayal. Midichlorians, Anakin's supposed to be a great pilot when they meet, is fucking 10. Jar Jar Binks. And then, we got Attack of the Clones, which is just another bunch of nonsense that really doesn't go too far. And then, I mean, these 2 movies were so bad that when we got a kind of crappy movie in Revenge of the Sith, that people actually thought that was a good movie. That's how low they set the bar. We got dialogue like, I love you because you're so beautiful, or something shit like that. Has love blinded you nonsense. And the fight scenes just got ridiculous. Like that's end scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin, like, where they're choreographing. It's like the WWE, I'm like, what is the purpose of them flipping their lightsaber? Why doesn't one of them if one of them would have just attacked, it would have been over, it was nonsense. It was just so bad. Die Hard, I really didn't like 2. 3 was a little bit better, but I'm still not that big of a fan of 3. But you know what? Out of all these 6 movies, I love Die Hard 1, like everyone. It was just a great movie, a great little, hostage, save the hostages movie. Keep away, Bruce Willis was awesome. Hans Gruber, one of the greatest villains. For that alone, Die Hard. Easy.
I hear you. When you're talking about Bruce Willis coming off of Moonlighting, blowing up in the movie theaters, coming off of Seagram wine cooler commercials, and blowing up in the movie theater, I have no choice but to go with Die Hard. Without a doubt, the Star Wars movie, it's a shame to me that Jar Jar Binks was played by a black actor. It's embarrassing to me. Embarrassing. And that's the way I feel about that movie.
I mean, the fact that Jar Jar Binks was played by a human being is embarrassing to me.
And I will say, it's not as bad as people say. It really isn't, all three of them, but they're not good either. And that brings us to the final two picks in this first round. And that is the Mighty Ducks versus the Bourne franchise. James took it away last time, I do believe, so it means we will start with Don Willie.
Yeah, listen, man, I'm not even gonna give a semi-debate on this one, man. Bourne, period, over.
Bourne. LT.
Yeah, the Mighty Ducks, they're fun movies as a kid. Amelia Estevez, love them. But what is it more cooler than being James Bond than going to a casino and being in a tuxedo Bond?
No doubt. Jerry.
Jason Bourne, that's what we're doing here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Bourne. I like Bourne, but it's the same story all the time, Some dark CIA guys got something cooking. He's like, I need to take Bourne out. Bourne knows too much. Bourne has no clue what's going on. He gets dragged back in, gets help from a girl. They try and kill Bourne. Bourne's like, all right, I'm back. Gets them more help from the girl. Uncovers the truth. Girl gets killed or something, and then he uncovers the truth. Gets the CIA guy, the shady guy, gets killed. It's the same movie every freaking time. It's good. Don't get me wrong. I like it. And then versus the Mighty Ducks. Well, the Mighty Ducks is basically a ripoff of the Bad News Bears, just on hockey. But it had its own collection of crazy characters. You got Goldberg, you got, Fulton with the crazy shot, the hard-hitting guy who, and then you have Mighty Ducks 2 where they up the ante and they're playing for, the U.S. Junior Olympics and, they're playing the big bad Iceland guys, kind of like Rocky 4, you're going at it like that. And you bring in something crazy like Knuckle Pucks and other stuff. Yeah, it was good fun too, kind of the same thing. They kind of lose themselves and have to find themselves again with Emilio Estevez. Similar to Major League 2, which was not that great of a movie. And then 3, they're in high school and they got to beat the varsity to earn their spots and be the Ducks. So, you know what? I'm going to go with the Ducks. Quack,
the Ducks.
Quack, quack, quack.
Took the Ducks.
Quack, quack.
Jerry is rolling with the Ducks. James Michelle.
Quack, quack, quack. Bourne.
And James Michelle moves it. I would tell you what. I think that the Mighty Ducks movies are better than the Bourne movies. Bourne movies, to me, the first one was good, but besides that, I did not like them whatsoever, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to go with the Mighty Ducks, but the Bourne franchise moves on, no doubt. So, moving into the Sweet 16, we have Star Wars versus the Naked Gun. We have the Dollars franchise versus Iron Man. We have Back to the Future versus Batman Nolan. We have Captain America versus Godfather. We have Lord of the Rings versus the Mariachi trilogies. We have Aliens versus Indiana Jones, Toy Story versus Mission Impossible, and Die Hard versus Bourne.